Good morning, everyone. My name is Jericho Esgalian, an AB Mass Communications fourth-year student, and today I'm going to share with you four topics about my report for this day. It's about an overview of the principles and theories of management as it relates to broadcast management. So, hope you guys enjoy the rest of this video. Let's begin. First of all, I would love to give you an overview of the topic that I said a while ago, theories and the principles of management as it relates to broadcast management. How is it related to broadcast management? So first of all, I'm going to share with you the broadcast programming formats. So what are the broadcast programming formats? First is the block programming. Block programming is the practice of scheduling a group of complementary programs together. Blocks are typically built around specific genres. A block focusing specifically on sitcoms or whatsoever, which targets the audience or other factors with their programming often promoted collectively under blanket titles. Next is the bridging. What is bridging? Bridging is the practice of discouraging the audience from changing channels during the junctions between specific programs. So this can be done primarily by airing promos for the next program near the end of the preceding program, such as during its credits, or reducing the length of the junction between two programs as much as possible, or the so-called hot switching. Next, we have the cross-programming. Cross-programming, ladies and gentlemen, involves the interconnection of two shows. This is achieved by, of course, extending a storyline over two episodes of two different shows. Next, we also have counter-programming. What is counter-programming? Counter-programming is the practice of deliberately scheduling programming to attract viewers away from another major program. Counter-programming efforts often involve scheduling a contrasting program of a different genre or demographic, targeting viewers who may not be interested in the major program, such as a sporting event, which typically draws a predominantly male audience against an award show that attracts a predominantly female audience. So that's counter-programming. Next, we have the day parting. Day parting is the practice of dividing the day into several parts, during each of which a different type of radio programming or television showing appropriate for the time is aired. Daytime television shows are most often geared toward a particular demographic and what the target audience typically engages in at the time. And we also have hammocking. Hammocking is a technique used by broadcasters whereby an unpopular show is scheduled between two popular shows in the hope that the audience flow will carry viewers into the less popular program. Public television uses this as a way of promoting serious but valuable content. Next, we have the stripping. What is stripping? Stripping is the practice of running a single series in a consistent daily time slot throughout the week, usually on weekdays. First, run daytime and syndicated programs such as talk shows, court shows, game shows, and soap operas are typically aired in a strip format. Example of this one is It's Showtime of ABS-CBN, and of course, Itbulaga of GMA. Next, we have the tent polling. In tentpole programming, the programmers bank on a well-known series having so much audience appeal that they can place two unknown series on other side. And it is the strength of the central show that will draw viewers to the two other shows. Next, we have the theming. Theming is a broadcaster may temporarily dedicate all or parts of its schedule over a period of time to a specific time or theme. Next, we have time slot. A show's time slot or a place in the schedule could be crucial for its success or failure. Right, so that's all. And we will now proceed to the different radio formats. What is radio formats? A format, ladies and gentlemen, is a framework for organizing and articulation of ideas and talents. So different formats are used in radio as it has a wide range of audience with different tastes and preferences. It also has to provide a variety of variety to relieve the monotony in broadcast as well as convey messages effectively. And as we all know, guys, radio format can also be split to three parts. What are these three parts? The first part is the spoken words program or human voice. Types of spoken words programs are, first, we have the announcement. These are specifically written clear messages to inform. They can be of different types. These announcements have become informal and resemble ordinary conversation. We also have the radio talk. The radio talk probably is the oldest format on radio. These talks have to go through a process of being changed into radio's spoken word style. Over these long radio talks have become unpopular. And instead, today, shorter duration talks are broadcast. Of course, we can also listen to these talks only on public service broadcasting stations or AM or FM radio stations. Next, we also have the radio interviews. In the media, be it the newspaper, magazine, radio or television, journalists use this technique of asking questions to get information. There can be different types of interviews in terms of their duration, content, and purpose. As we all know, interview is all about asking a question to your guest, and of course, the guest is going to answer that question, or she or he can actually not answer that if she or he don't want to. But that's the process of interviewing. It's a question and answer portion, basically. Next, we have the radio drama. And of course, I know that all of us are familiar with radio drama. Some of us or most of our elders love listening to radio dramas. And a radio drama, of course, or a radio play is like a theater drama. The only difference is that while a stage play has actors, so stage sets and curtains, properties, movements, and live action, in radio play or radio drama, it only has three components. They are the human voice, music, and sound effects. Yeah, that's the only difference between radio drama and the so-called theater drama. Next, number 5, we have the news, or in Tagalog, it's balita. Among all these spoken words formats on radio, news is the most popular. News bulletins and news programmers or programs are broadcast every hour by radio station as well as TV, on TV. Next, we have the music. If you guys love music, you are probably most often listening to FM radio stations because it is the stations that plays mostly music rather than news or radio drama, something like that. So that's the music. And of course, we also have the sound effects. Let us see how sound can be used in radio formats. Yeah, of course. One of the factors or one of the factors that can affect the outcome of a certain radio program or radio show is by simply putting a sound effect. Yeah, because this factor also adds a little bit of liveliness. And also, sound can play a major role in invoking interest. Sound can also be used for comic effects to evoke laughter, and sound can also be used to create certain moods or enhance them. And FYI, ladies and gentlemen, did you know that India has taken giant leaps in the field of information technology, and radio as a medium has taken a lead in applying information technology in its broadcast? Let us discuss some of these formats. The first format is the phone-in program. In this age of technological development, phone-in is the most important format. This is called interactive programming, where the listener and the presenter talk to each other. And with this, their talk goes on air instantly. So the listener has the satisfaction uh, that his voice is being listened to and replied immediately. Other listeners also listen to him. Such presentations need advanced publicity so that the listeners get ready to air their grievances or queries or questions, requests, something like that. And they dial up the announced telephone number at a stipulated time and get their problems discussed with experts in the studio. I guess one of the examples of this is way back then the program of DJ. What's the name again? I forgot. I guess it's DJ Papa Jack. Yeah, the way he entertains callers and listening to the stories of his caller, then eventually giving his advice to that caller. And of course, the listeners are, of course, listening to that conversation live. Um, Initially, this format was introduced, ladies and gentlemen, for playing the listener's request based film songs. Now it is being used for health-related programs, rural broadcast, complaints against the government, administrative machinery, or whatsoever. So that's phone-in program. That's the number one format. Second format is the radio bridge. So radio bridge means connecting different stations throughout the length and breadth of the country. For example, I guess the best example of this is the way Bombo Radio is reporting, the way Bombo Radio reaching out to another reporters from Bombo Radio stations in other places, such as Bombo Radio Kawayan City is interacting with some reporters from Bombo Radio Davao, something like that. They may also do this radio bridging, or it's basically it's connecting from one radio station to another radio station. So that's it, the radio bridge. And the last one, we also have the radio internet or radio internet. Radio on internet is a growing phenomenon with thousands of radio stations operating through computer modems. Yeah, an example of that is I'm actually watching, sometimes I'm actually watching on radio stations via Facebook. Yeah, we have a lot of radio stations right now that are using this medium so that listeners can not only listen to their voice, and they can actually see the radio DJ or the announcer live via Facebook. So that's, I guess, one of the examples of radio on internet. And radio on internet is a growing phenomenon, yeah, and it is altogether a new format that removes the restrictions of frequency or license. And it is relatively cheap to set up. Okay, so that's the three formats of the sound effects. Now, after discussing about radio formats, we are now going to talk about the different TV formats. So what's the difference between TV formats and radio formats? TV formats, ladies and gentlemen, is the overall concept and branding of a copyrighted television program. So the most common type of formats are those in the television genres of game shows and reality shows, and of course many of which are remade in multiple markets with local contestants. Recent examples includes Survivor. If you guys are watching Survivor, or Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, Pop Idol, and Big Brother, that have all proved successful not only in the country where this TV program originated, but also to other countries. Particular models in the genre of sitcoms are often sold as formats, enabling broadcasting to adapt them to the perceived taste of their own audience. An example of The Office is a BBC sitcom which got adapted as The Office US, Le Bureau in France, Stromberg in Germany, La Hobe in Quebec, and La Office in Chile. A format is licensed by TV networks so that they may produce a version of their own for this particular show, tailored to their nationality and audience. For example, we have here in the Philippines, ABS-CBN actually, what do you call that again? They purchased a certain TV program or reality TV show, such as The Big Brother, and they converted it into Pinoy Big Brother, something like that. And of course, we also have The Voice. They converted it in The Voice Philippines. So those are the perfect examples of sitcoms or TV shows purchased and of course adopted by the Filipino people as well. And formats are also a major part of the international television market. Purchasing is popular with broadcasters due to principally to the lower risk associated with an already proven idea and the preference of audiences towards programming tailored to their locality. Leading companies that handle the creation and sales of programming formats include ITV Studios, Talpa or Talpa, and Demel, and Fremantle Media. These TV formats, ladies and gentlemen, are viewed as a form of intellectual property or IP, and are regularly bought and sold by TV producers, distribution company, and broadcasters. For example, the show or the reality show entitled Who Wants to Be a Millionaire has been recreated in 108 territories, while local versions of Idol have aired over 129 series in 42 territories, receiving about 3 billion votes, most notable being American Idol. Yeah, American Idol. However, TV formats are also not generally protected under copyright law. As a result, copycat formats are sometimes created which seeks to duplicate the success of an original format without playing the person who came up with it. Format developers also seek to prevent this by various means, including the use of trademarks or withholding distribution of other programs, establishing proof of review or POR, and exposure to companies reviewing new TV formats is also one of the important aspects of protection by the industry at the Television Writers Vault. So the Format Recognition and Protection Association, or FRAPA, aims to protect rights to formats and lobbies of legal protection. And this time I'm going to talk about the different information technology based on formats. Information and Communications Technology, or ICT, refers to all the technology used to handle telecommunications, broadcast media, intelligent building management systems, audiovisual processing and transmission systems, and network-based control and monitoring functions. Although ICT, or the Information and Communications Technology, is often considered as extended synonym for information technology, or IT, its scope is, of course, more broad or wider. Information technology, or IT, is the use of computers to store, retrieve, transmit, and manipulate data or information, often in the context of a business or other enterprise. IT system also is generally an information system, a communication system, or more specifically speaking, a computer system, including all hardware, software, and peripheral equipment operated by a limited group of users. The term is commonly used as a synonym for computers and computer networks, but it also encompasses other information distribution technologies such as television and telephones. And also, IT is considered to be a subject of Information and Communications Technology, or ICT. That's all about for the part one of my report. And now I'm going to discuss and share with you some knowledge about program planning and production.